So when people seek to clarify their life purpose, or they may use a different expression like their ideal life path or their ideal career path, people use different, but it's all similar. There's one absolutely critical thing that majority of people miss before they even start, which derails them right from the beginning. And that is they don't know where to look for the answer that they're seeking. They seek the answer where it doesn't live. And for years and years and years, I've used this metaphor called find an ocean in Nebraska. Find an ocean in Nebraska. And it's really good to go through the internal feeling of it. Send the man to Nebraska and let him spend 5 years roaming around the state of Nebraska to see if he can find an ocean. Of course, naturally, he won't. But I use the metaphor to drive home this point as hard as I possibly can, that your passion and your life purpose and your mission in life and your ideal career, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, do not live in your head. They don't live in your head. What do I mean by that? It's not an intellectual thing. The society we live in and all the academics and all the analytical career counselors and coaches and everything out there keep promoting the idea that you will find your life purpose in your head, or you will find it if you look at what you're good at, what your skills are, what your talents are. What did you excel at in college? What were you good at in school? What did people tell you that is a great career for you to be in? And the answer is ignore all of the above. Ignore it. Put it aside. It is irrelevant and it's a trap. It's an absolute trap. Okay. So right from the beginning of this journey, the number one thing that people need to do is learn how to feel. F-E-E-L. Feel. Feel is not in your head. There's no feeling in your head. Okay. So if people spend their whole lives not being able to feel and they try to intellectualize as a substitute for not being able to feel, they will never find their life purpose, because their life purpose is an emotional, spiritual thing, not an intellectual thing. So the first step they need to do is learn how to feel. Oh my God, that's a whole process in and of itself. If you spent your whole life being in an analytical world, you're doomed. So you learn how to become present with your experience by going in your body and feeling and intuiting and journaling and writing, but staying within your emotions, your sensations, and your feelings and your intuition, and open that doorway to what is real inside you and begin to notice what is present there and feel what is present there. Now, it's completely fine to ask questions, because questions, especially the provocative type of questions, are great. But what do you do with the questions? Do you take the questions and stay in your head? No, you use the questions to drop down into your body and feel. There's a lot of quotations of famous people along the lines of follow what your heart says or follow the path of your heart. But 99.9% of the people in the world do not know what that means. And they have no way to follow their heart because they're not connected to their heart in the first place. Okay. So this is step one of finding your life purpose, is to feel. Now, where does life crafting come into this? Well, life crafting is a fantastic resource to help you learn how to feel and how to become present with your experience of life, not your thoughts about life, not your analysis of life, not your psychology of life, not all the above, but how to experience life fully from the inside. Okay. So when you learn how to do this, it's literally like opening up a doorway of reality or perceptional filter or reality where a whole new dimension of life presents itself. And that's when you start to really notice and feel, and your spirit, your center, your being, your creative essence starts slowly to become available to you so that you can connect with it, because your life purpose lives there. It lives in that place deep inside you. And at first, there may not be words, adequate words to describe what that is. It may only be a feeling and not words. But that's again where life crafting is so amazing, because we help you, one, to feel it and to know it internally. And then we help you put words to it so it becomes real in the world, that you can take it out and drive it down the block. Like a car. You could share it with people out in the world, and they're going to go, oh my God, a person who actually speaks the truth about what's inside them. Oh my God, how refreshing is that? Okay, so this is a clue. Now, one little additional tip that it gets again to the roadmap that we touched on. If you're struggling to pay the bills and you're in a survival state emotionally, and you're stressed out, that is not a time to find your life purpose. You will not access your life purpose, because that creative dimension of you, that lofty, visionary, creative, playful, joyful dimension of you, is not actually really accessible to you at that time. That is why we put the taxi job ahead of the career playground, why we help people get stabilized financially and stabilized emotionally with, paying their bills and their living, so that they're now in a higher plateau on the Maslow hierarchy, and they're now actually able to go to the next step in that journey of awakening, the journey of discovery. Everything in our educational system and in our media and everything else is designed to discourage you from finding your life purpose. Do you think the powers that be, or the powers that shouldn't be, are really interested in you having an empowered, passionate life, doing what you love and using your gifts and your talents? Do they want a society or a country or a population that are empowered in that way? Of course not, because if they had 100 million people doing that, then they wouldn't be susceptible to the mind control. They wouldn't be susceptible to the billions of dollars of advertising revenue trying to sell them products that they don't need. They would be busy following their heart, following their soul, following their deepest truth, following the reason that they came to this planet in the first place. A group of children decide to do a jigsaw puzzle, and they take the box with all the puzzle pieces and they dump it onto the table. But they don't look at the outside of the box, so they don't know what the puzzle is going to be. All right. All they do is just dump it out, and they just randomly start to fit the puzzle pieces together. Okay. They don't know anything. But as they go along and they keep going further and further and further, one child gets to see what the puzzle really is. And they jump up excited and they say, I know what it is. I know what the puzzle is. I know what the puzzle is. And they declare what the puzzle is. And then from that moment, all the other children just frantically, excitedly put all the rest of the puzzle pieces together, and the puzzle was done. So that's the metaphor here for finding your life purpose, is we're going to start to put puzzle pieces together from lots of places, disparate places, and we won't really know what this is, but it will define itself. It will reveal itself. It always does. And the same is true for the pot of soup on the stove. You probably heard me say 100 times, the slow simmer pot on the stove, you add every ingredient in it. But in the end, when you serve it to your dinner guests, it doesn't taste like anything you put into it. And it's in that moment that you discover that the whole is, in fact, greater than the sum of all its parts, and that you are bigger than all the parts of you. That's another view of life purpose. The third one is the old-fashioned camera that uses film And in the dark room, the photographer puts the piece of paper in the developing solution in the dark room. And lo and behold, like magic, the image appears on the paper. That's the third metaphor of life purpose again. It's already there, it's already in you, but you can't see it and you can't know it and you don't have words for it. But if you do the process, then it reveals itself. It shows itself.